Have you ever stopped to wonder what actually holds a free society together? It's a huge question, right? And the answer is so much deeper than just a bunch of laws. It's really about a shared belief in those laws. And that gets us right to the heart of what we're talking about today, the absolutely crucial difference between a country's constitution and the spirit of constitutionalism. I mean, really think about that for a second. We give governments an incredible amount of power. Power to build things, run our daily lives, keep us safe. But what's the off switch? What stops that very same power from being used against us, the people it's supposed to protect? Well, that's the big central puzzle we are going to unpack. And you know, there's a very good reason we even have to ask that question. History is just littered with examples of what happens when power is left to run wild. This deep-seated fear of unlimited authority creates a fundamental challenge for pretty much any society. How in the world do you create a government that's strong enough to get things done, but not so powerful that it becomes a threat? And this right here is the classic dilemma of politics. It's a constant tug of war. You need a government with enough muscle to maintain order and provide services, but if you give it too much muscle, you risk crushing the very freedoms that make life worth living. It's an incredibly delicate balancing act. So how do we solve this puzzle? Well, societies have come up with two powerful tools that work together. First, you have the rule book itself. That's the Constitution. And second, you have the shared commitment to actually playing by those rules. And that's what we call constitutionalism. Let's break down what each of these really means. All right, so first up, the Constitution. At its most basic level, it's the supreme law of the land. Think of it like the ultimate instruction manual for the state. It lays out the what the government can do, how it's supposed to be set up, and what rights the citizens have. It's the blueprint. But a good constitution is so much more than just a dry legal document. It gives us the basic ground rules for how we all agree to live together. It spells out who gets to make decisions, and, this is key, it draws a hard line in the sand that the government is not allowed to cross. It protects our rights, and it even paints a picture of the kind of society the nation wants to be. Okay, now for the other equally important side of the coin, constitutionalism. Now this isn't a document you can hold, it's an idea. It's a philosophy, a political culture. It's the widespread belief that the government must be limited by the rules in that constitution. A government's very right to rule, its legitimacy, actually depends on respecting those limits. You know, here's probably the best way to think about it. If the Constitution is the official rule book for a game, then constitutionalism is the spirit of fair play. You can have a rule book, sure, but if the players just ignore it, if they cheat, if the referee is biased, the game becomes a total sham, right? It's meaningless. The rules only work if everyone involved is committed to the idea of playing fair. So where did this revolutionary idea of limiting government actually come from? Because, you know, this wasn't always the norm, not by a long shot. For most of history, rulers had absolute power, period. So let's take a quick look at how this game-changing idea came to be. Well, the light bulb really started to go on during the Enlightenment, and then it just burst into flames with events like the French Revolution in the late 1700s. People started to seriously challenge the whole idea that kings and queens had a God-given right to rule however they wanted. Through the 1800s, this idea got stronger and stronger, and today, it's pretty much the bedrock of every modern democracy on the planet. The political thinker Carl Friedrich really nailed the core of the problem. He said, the challenge isn't just about creating a government, it's about building a system that keeps the people in charge from misusing the power we give them. It's a state of constant, necessary vigilance. And the scholar McWalwin took this a step further. He argued that real constitutionalism needs two parts working together, always. First, you need clear legal limits written down, the lines the government can't cross. But second, and just as important, you need political responsibility, the idea that leaders are accountable to the people. One without the other, the whole thing just falls apart. Okay, so all this might sound a little abstract, right? Legal limits, political responsibility. Let's make it real. The Constitution of India is an amazing case study of how these ideas get put into practice. It was designed not just as a rule book, but as a living embodiment of constitutionalism itself. Right from the get-go, in its preamble, the Indian Constitution declares its spirit. It's not just a document about laws, it's a promise. A promise to secure justice, liberty, equality, and a sense of shared community for every single citizen. That's the why, the whole purpose, baked right into the very first page. And here's the cool part. You can actually see the gears of constitutionalism turning in the specific articles. Article 13, for example, gives courts the power of judicial review. They can literally strike down laws that violate people's rights. Article 14 establishes the rule of law, meaning nobody is above it. Article 32 gives you, the citizen, a direct line to the Supreme Court. And Article 50 helps keep the different branches of government in their own lanes. These are the actual tools that make the whole thing work. But here's the thing, and this is so important to understand. This system, this belief in limits, it's not set in stone. It's fragile. It's a delicate balance that is constantly being tested by new challenges. The fight to uphold it is never, ever over.
And we see these tests everywhere today, right? You have governments trying to grab more power for themselves. You have corruption that makes people lose faith in the whole system. There are even honest debates about whether courts are sometimes going too far. And of course, there's the constant pressure on our individual rights like free speech and privacy. All of these things put constitutionalism to the test every single day.
And all of this brings us to the single most important takeaway. You can have the most beautiful, perfectly written constitution in the world, filled with wonderful promises of freedom and fairness, but if the government, the courts, and most importantly, the people themselves don't actually believe in the spirit of those rules, if constitutionalism isn't there, then that document is just a piece of paper. So I want to leave you with this final thought. A constitution is just ink on a page. It doesn't have an army, it doesn't have a police force. So who or what actually gives it the real-world power to restrain the most powerful people in a nation? The answer isn't in the document itself, it's in us, the people who agree to be governed by it.